Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Justin. This is Horsepower Obsessed, and today we're gonna do a little bit of Horsepower Obsessed garage maintenance. All right, guys, so I wanted to make a maintenance style video for you guys to let you know what kind of maintenance comes along with owning cars like this. Now, obviously, the Lincoln MKX hasn't spent much time on my channel. This is my wife's car. It's her daily driver, so it's not around very often, but I do maintain it by doing brakes, oil changes, all that good stuff. And that's what we're gonna do today, is an oil change on the wife's Lincoln. Now, after that, we're gonna hop over to these Corvette Zr1 because I have a problem with the clicking noise in the front wheels. Again, it's come back. For those of you who don't know, I made a video about this once before, fixing it, just pulling off the wheel, cleaning the back side of the wheel and the front face of the rotor. And that did seem to work for about a month. After that, the noise came back and now I have to fix it again. So I actually found a couple different things on the Corvette forum that show there might be a different way of getting into this and possibly fixing it for good. So we're gonna do that after we do the wife's oil change. But just so you guys know what I'm talking about, I actually recorded a video with my front doorbell camera of me pulling my car in off the road, and the clicking noise was really, really obvious. It's very loud and I want to get it fixed because something like the Corvette Zr1 is obviously a very expensive car. And when I'm driving it around, it doesn't sound like it's expensive whenever these things are clicking so horribly. We're going to do the oil change first, then we're going to hop into the Zr1. So let's get started. We're actually going to go ahead and let her car warm up a little bit just because the oil change usually goes a little bit better, gets a little bit more of the oil out whenever it's a little warmer. So while that's warming up, we're going to go ahead over here and grab my race ramps, which is what's going to allow me to get her car up in the air high enough to do an oil change. These are the 67-inch two-piece race ramps. I will put them in the link down below if you want to check them out for yourself. Now, with the Corvette, these are actually not low enough, so you actually have to buy these additional spacers here. I will also link those down below as well. And just like that, guys, this is why I love the race ramps. They're so easy to use. They're so secure. Everything is much safer when doing it this way. And if you were doing something that really required the extra space, you can actually pull the ramp part away at this point. So all that's left is the part that's holding the wheel. But anyway, let's get into it. Here's my assistant, guys. She's got all the tools and everything I need. This is her car, but I'm the one that's going under there. Say hi to the camera.
Hi.
So I know most of you guys aren't here to see a Lincoln MKX, but just in case someone out there is wondering how to change their oil, here's the drain plug. Here's the oil filter. The drain plug is a size 15 millimeter, just in case you guys were wondering. But anyway, let's get this oil change done so we can move on to the Corvette stuff. Liquid gold, guys. Liquid gold. So oil is about to drip now. I'm gonna go ahead and put the plug back in and we're gonna take off the oil filter. And of course, with the new oil filter, we'll just put a dab of oil on the seal here. Make sure it helps not get stuck for the next oil change. And that's pretty much it. We got to put the oil in and then we are done. W20 in case any of you wonder, for the Lincoln MKX or the Ford Edge. All right, guys, so we got all the oil in. This takes 6 quarts. Everything is good to go. So we're gonna go ahead and start the car up and then we're moving on to the Zr1. So as usual with any oil change, you'll just wanna make sure nothing is leaking underneath after doing the change. Everything up here looks good, sounds good. And then we'll do one final check of the oil level just to make sure we are good to go. But other than that, this is done. So like I said, guys, this is just a little bit of a indication of how your day goes whenever you have cars like this and you got to maintain them, because regardless of what kind of car you have, oil changes are a part of life. And guys, in typical PA fashion, it has started to rain here, so we're going to pick this up tomorrow. It's going to seem like a couple seconds for you, but of course it's going to be an entire day for me, so I'll see you guys then. Bam, guys, there it is. Just like that, it's a new day here in Pennsylvania, and it's actually a nice day. How about that? Look at that. That's right. That's sun. In Pennsylvania, we have some sun. It's not raining all over the place for once, so we're gonna get the car out and finish up the wheels on the ZR1. It's the usual assortment of tools. I have my breaker bar, an impact driver, my floor jack, and of course the 19mm socket I'm going to need to take off these lug nuts. So we got the wheel off, and I'm gonna need new tires here very soon. This thing doesn't even have 6,000 miles on it. Look at this. These are wearing real bad right here. It looks like I'm gonna need an alignment too. But I'm gonna wait on that because I want to actually get this thing lowered a little bit. I'm gonna do that first, and then I'm gonna have to take it in for an alignment apparently. So just keep that stuff in mind, guys. If you have a car like a ZR1 or even the Z06 with the Sport Cup 2 tires, yeah, they don't last too long. Guys, look who came to visit. It's Onyx. He's gonna help us today. Hey buddy, how you doing? Say hi to the camera. Say hi. Such a good boy, huh? You a good boy? Oh, he likes the camera. Good boy. He's not gonna be much help, but he is here. A lot of people on the Corvette forum were saying that the clicking is actually caused by the hub ring right there that actually has some rust on it. And if you check inside the wheel here, you could see it's actually rusted inside there too. And if I had to guess, that is exactly what's causing this. So we're gonna clean that up, and I'm gonna put just a smear, very, very, very thin layer of anti-seize around this hub ring, and that will basically stop the rust from transferring, possibly even from forming, because that stuff is like an anti-corrosive. Oh, he's come back to help. So if you guys haven't seen the video where I did this before, it will be linked up to the top right of this video. But honestly, that fix lasted maybe a month, maybe 2 at most, before I started hearing this noise again. So this is the way you're gonna wanna do it anyway with the anti-seize, or at least I'm hoping. I'm really hoping this is gonna fix the problem permanently. You wanna use that impact driver, Onyx? No? No, he's not interested. So as you guys can see, it is pulling some dirt off. Just like last time, there is dirt in between here that needs to be cleaned off first before we put any kind of anti-seize down. Some brake parts cleaner on a rag, wipe this area down real well, and then we'll move on to the next step. I'm gonna use some Quad Zero steel wool on this as well, just to see if I can get off any additional rust from inside here. We'll do the same thing on the front of the rotor face here in a second. And as you can see there, it is removing a good bit more of the rust than what the rag would do. So we want to get this as clean as possible. And as you guys can see here, I got all the rust cleaned off. I actually even popped the center cap off from the other side and cleaned up there as well, just to make sure that there's no rust, no nothing, because on the back here I could see a little bit of rust before. I cleaned it all up, and I'm going to pop it back on, and then we're going to head over to the rotor face now. You could see clearly where the wheel sits on here, all the dirt and everything from here down. We're going to clean up all this, get all the extra rust off this right here. Like I said, we may need to use some steel wool on this part because this is a lot rustier than it was the first time I did this. So I do believe this is where the issue's coming from. First, we're just gonna go ahead and wipe it down with a rag and some brake part cleaner. And then we're gonna hit it with the steel wool as well. And just that little bit I just did, you could tell it's definitely wiping off some rust and some dirt. So this is definitely where the issue's at. I think that the hub ring here is actually where the problem is really coming from, because this is really rusty. I could see this allowing that wheel to move just a little bit, which would then create that clicking noise. So I'm just going to continue to wipe this down, and once it's all as clean as I can get it with this rag, we're going to bust out the Quad Zero steel wool. Now anything in here the wheel might touch is what you want to try to focus on. So even the lug nuts, because as you can see, mine have a little bit of rust on them. Basically, I don't want the sound to come back. So anything I could possibly do here. And now we're going to hit it with some Quad Zero steel wool to try to get this rust off as best we can.
So this is about as clean as I can get it with steel wool. So I'm gonna go ahead and put some anti-seize on this particular part right here. Now, if this ends up not working, there's only one thing I can do from here, and that is to remove the caliper, remove the rotor, scrub this thing as clean as and free of rust as possible, put some anti-seize behind the rotor, put it back on, put some more on the front here around the ring, and put the wheel back on. So I'm hoping that what we did here right now will fix this, because that seems like a lot of work to fix something that shouldn't even be an issue to begin with. But anyway, like I said, this is kind of the stuff you have to do when you own cars like this. So this is just another normal Monday at the Horsepower Obsessed Garage. This is the product that we're going to use today. It is copper anti-seize and brake lube. The biggest reason I chose to go with this was highly recommended on some of the Corvette forums, but specifically it's good for up to 2,000 degrees. So the rotors get pretty hot, as you guys know. We want to make sure that this stuff doesn't burn off. Now, like I said, we're going to put a very, very thin layer around this ring right here and a little bit on the rotor face. You do also want to take care to not get any of this on the lug studs or on your lug nuts. And as you guys can see there is no globs or anything. It is basically as thin as a film. So that's what you want to keep it at here. Nothing horrible, nothing real thick, just enough to possibly allow these pieces to slide instead of click together. Like I said, this was a recommendation on the Corvette forum, so I'll put that information down in the description below as well. So I got the wheel back on. I will lower the car down and torque down the lug nuts. GM recommends 103 foot-pounds. My torque wrench only goes in increments of 10, so I will put 110 on this. But I'll spare you guys the details of doing the passenger side as well, because it's the same thing. So we're gonna go ahead and do the passenger side, then I'm gonna jump in the car, drive it around a little bit, and see how it does. I know I said I wasn't gonna show you anything from the passenger side, but you guys gotta check this out. I mean, look at the amount of rust on that hub ring. Pretty crazy. That's a lot of rust, and that's definitely, if it's not causing it, it's definitely not helping the clicking sound from these wheels. Anyway, I'm gonna clean this up and then we're gonna go test it out.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
All right, guys, so we are out and about in the ZR1, and so far I haven't heard any noises, which is awesome. But we're gonna play around in this parking lot here, and outside of rocks, I'm gonna see if I can hear it. But so far it's been good, so fingers crossed. So yeah, it doesn't seem like it's making any noise. Now, this could be temporary. I will let you guys know for sure, but thanks to my wonderful, beautiful camera person here for holding the camera while I was full lock turning in a parking lot here. This is what you have to do to test this thing. It's so weird because it doesn't make the noise all the time. When you're out on the road going, 40 or 50 miles an hour, it doesn't make the noise. It's only at full lock at slow speeds. It isn't doing it right now, and as long as it stays that way, great. But if something happens and it comes back, I'll let you guys know, because like I said, the next step is to take off the calipers, take off the rotors, clean the entire hub front and back, and put everything back together. I would rather not do that, so hopefully this stays fixed. Anyway, that's gonna do it for today's video, guys. So if you liked what you saw, give me a big thumbs up. I hope it helped you understand a little bit about the kind of maintenance that you have to do when you own certain kinds of cars. I just thought I'd give you a little bit of a glimpse into my day and the stuff that I do around the house to maintain my vehicles. But if you guys have any questions about anything we did, go ahead and leave them in the comment section down below, or shoot me an email, horse.power.obsessed@gmail.com, and I'd be happy to answer anything you may have. If you guys haven't subscribed yet, please do. I'm gonna have loads of C7, C8, truck videos, whatever it is you want, they're coming to you. You're gonna wanna subscribe to make sure you see them. And as always, guys, we will catch you in the next upload.